Welcome back. Now we're going to talk entertainment. I have here with me an actor with plenty awards. One of my favorite in the industry. Very, very vocal and passionate about his art. Femi Jacobs, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. I say very vocal because that's one of the main things I actually admire about you. You know, I follow you on social media. You never want to sort of hold your opinions on anything, whether it's about politics, about Nigeria, but especially about the industry, you know, which of course you work in Nollywood. Don't you ever worry, you know, that is sort of might be a problem, or has it ever been a problem actually with regards to getting work?
I don't know consciously. Perhaps from the things I've heard, some people have, you know, had problems, you know, with probably, you know, even the circle I belong to, you know, like people.
What do you mean the circle you belong
to? In the industry, I came in through Medrodoko.
Okay. That's the Aldrich Silver Company. Yeah.
Aldrich Silver
and she is also very vocal.
She's very vocal, you know, like, I mean, with her, it's either, it's yes or no. You don't have middle ground, you know. And I'm attracted to her because of that. I like people who are able to, you know, tell the truth. I've never loved ambivalence. I don't like things that are not well defined, you know. It's either we're in or we're out, you know, really. And I've also learned that there is, whether you're vocal or not, people always have a problem with you. Somehow they will find a problem with you. I was somewhere yesterday, I was hosting a program, and I came out of the show, and then downstairs I met a woman who said, "That was wonderful. I never used to like you." I said, "What did I do?" She said, "No, you didn't do anything." I mean, really, it happens. People just make up their minds not like you. But then, I've always kept my opinions on the subject. I mean, the way I was raised, by my faith, I was never, it's not profitable to be confrontational, to be personal about things, I mean, really. But this is my industry. I care about it. I go on set every day. I meet the pains and the pleasure. I mix with the people. I see it. And I see that some things they're unsustainable. We have to talk about them.
But don't you see how that could be a problem, especially in the kind of industry where you are, where, you know, a lot of what you do is based on perception, on how your brand is sort of seen. Don't you see how, you know, being a little too opinionated, especially about your colleagues or about, you know, your industry, could be a problem?
I never spoke about my colleagues before. I've never crossed that line. I've never, ever spoken about my colleagues. I think it's a line nobody should cross.
Okay.
But when it comes to work, processes, culture, how we do things, it's really important. Whether I'm on set or off set, I like to contribute to what I'm doing. I came to the industry not as a you know, spring chicken. I was already an adult, a full adult. You understand? I was working somewhere. I was full-blown adult.
Where were you working?
I was working in the bank.
Okay.
And I was already like in the thick of life before I came into Nollywood. I didn't even understand the culture. I didn't know there was a culture of silence. There was a code of silence in the industry. And it was much later that Mitradoko, you know, managed me then, was trying to tell me, "Oh, this is not how to behave. This is, you must do it this way and that way." And I started learning how to do that. But then again, if I do have a concern, I would speak about it.
Yeah.
I think that things just rot away when we have this secrecy about everything, you know, and I don't know how it might be. Now, you come out of the industry, now you have an opinion. When you were there, why didn't you do something about it? Why didn't you influence it? Why didn't you try to effect a change when you were there? I'm not a revolutionary, but I speak. And I think I'm one of the mildly opinionated ones in the industry. I mean, really, there are people who are like, you know.
Yeah. You wrote a book, and it's part of what we're going to be talking about. I think in the book you did mention that you left home at 8 years old, or something along those lines.
You ready?
How did that happen?
How did you know about
how much of that affected or has shaped, you know, sort of this independent-minded, opinionated guy that you've become?
I don't know how it works with other people, because you only know how your life feels from inside out. I think that one of the things I missed was growing up, someone saying to me, Femi, where's your results? What did you make in school? Let me see it. Okay, now you don't do this. This is what you do. I think it is excruciatingly, you know, frustrating to grow up alone.
So I know we don't want to give away too much on the book, but you kicked out? Did you just walk out?
No. I was living with my mom and dad, and then it was a domestic situation. I was a bit hostile.
Okay.
And my mom said, you know, they're going to kill you. It was a polygamous family. We had 3 wives in the house. I was number 5 from my mom. My mom had 7. There were other kids in the
Your
house.
mom was number
2.
Okay.
And then she begged my uncle to take me. My uncle tried his best. He also had his problems. He had his other kids, you know, he was taking care of. So they took me reluctantly, and I went to live my uncle Manzate. And I had to fend for myself, practically. And they did their best. I don't want to demonize anybody. They were kind. They even take me in the first place.
Exactly.
You know, but you know how it is. My mom didn't go to school. She was. It's one of the reasons I'm also very, very vocal about women issues. My mom was the only woman, and she was the only one not educated.
Oh, okay.
So when we're talking about feminism today, I'm really very passionate about things like that. We and patriarchy. We don't really care for the women folk. Anyways, so. My uncle was always telling me, I told your mom not to have so many kids. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, you know. But it was just a matter, I was such a lonely kid. I was introverted most of the time. And I learned to read by myself, to write by myself, coached myself through life. And I got saved quite early. And I think God is real to me than He's real to most people, because I think I sort of like developed that strong faith in God, and it's kept me. Yeah. So I don't really have that many fears about whether if I say this, someone is going to take an advantage, someone is going to, you know, withdraw a privilege. But I also learned not to be rude and not to be, but it's made me decisive, very decisive. I don't care if I'm wrong, I'll do it. I can correct myself later. But I can't keep holding myself back. I can't have that. Because there was a time I was really very tentative about life, because you never really had someone to tell you this is right or wrong. So it's sort of like a checking yourself. Are you right? Are you wrong? Should you do it this way? Should you do it that way? And then it made me a little bit trepid, a little bit, you know, and eventually I realized you have to go for it. I mean, you go for it. If you're wrong, you can always correct yourself, you know. And it's made me a bit bold. Some of my friends say I'm reckless, but I just go for it. And when I'm right, it's brilliant. When I'm not, I come back, you know.
Yeah. So I'm guessing polygamy is a no-no for you.
Absolutely not. I don't think there's any man that is intelligent enough to cope with the forces that women are together in a home, competing for his attention, and then he still needs to make a life, make a living. I don't think that. Some men think that they're capable, but it will come with some form of trying to suppress the woman. A woman is a force of nature. You can't have 2 people, and by their nature, they're jealous. They like their space. You know, I think you're flying in the face of logic if you bring 2 women in the same house together. But some people are doing it. They say they're having fun with it. Good luck.
Yeah. Still talking about Nollywood now, do you think, because you mentioned a code of silence earlier, and it's something that we seem to sort of hear whispers about, those of us not in the industry, you know. We hear, oh, this happens. We hear directors allegedly, you know, sleep with actresses, but nobody ever wants to say anything. You know, we hear sometimes the pay is terrible, but nobody wants to complain because you want to get a role next week. You know, is that helping, you think? Do you think people should speak up more often? And how do you get to that point where, you know, you can speak up more even if you're not as, you know, financially comfortable?
I don't think it's a matter of speaking as it is a matter of living by your values. I think it's a matter of you having values you live by, such that if this does not work for you, get away from it. Don't go and be a rabble-rouser on someone's set. I mean, it's also not morally okay for someone to set up a structure And for you to go there, at the beginning, they proposed this thing, you knew you didn't like it, but you went for it, and then you were in the middle of it talking. I don't like people like that as well. There's a particular producer in this industry that people always, try to talk to me, Femi, we can't pay you so much because this particular person doesn't really commission a lot of... I said, look, don't talk to me like that. You agreed with him to work for him. Why are you demonizing with me? If you said yes, you've got to go ahead and do it. But I can't do this work, all right? I think it's a matter of being principled, knowing what you can and cannot do, and choosing based on that. You won't even have to speak so much if you live by your values. But I think that together with the code of silence, people also take things they can't really take, and then they go and then start playing victims. Don't do that. Nobody's victim. You've got to choose your battles, and you've got to make sure that you do things that you. Whether you go, you speak, or you don't speak, you're going to be hungry anyway. Yeah. In this industry, you're hungry. It's part of the process.
Is it financially lucrative or viable for actors, Nollywood, for actors?
Working actor, professional working actor, you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be very patient. You're going to have to be financially prudent, because really, whether you're a banker or you're a lawyer or you're an actor, you've got to know how to make money. I mean,
so patient for how long? Sorry to cut you in there, because I've interviewed a lot of people from Nollywood here, and the sense I get from a lot of people is, to make more money, you either have to now, stretch your hand into production or branch away from just strictly acting or movies and, travel into music or start your own business. That's what I'm asking. As an actor, is it a financially viable, sort of trade to get into in Nigeria?
It is not an easy question to answer, Ebuka. Okay. If you're not getting 25 to 30 scenes of film, you should get another job.
Okay. If
you're not... And most people wouldn't like this, but that's the truth. Because I come from a strictly business background, there's always a model to see everything, to conceive everything by. If you're not getting like 25 to 30 scenes in a film consistently, you should consider having something else that you're working on as a job to make money. If you are getting 25 to 30 scenes of film, and you're getting about 1 or 2 a month, you just need to be patient. It will pay off eventually. But if you're not, if you're only getting 3 scenes here, 5 scenes there, 4 scenes over there, you should have something. Because first of all, your redundancy should frustrate you. Yeah. You're too redundant. And when you're redundant, you're not growing. And this thing we're talking about really, what makes you an effective actor is if you have a lot of life experience.
You can bring into your work.
Yes, it brings depth to your work. It brings that broadness to it. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people who will not even like you personally, but they like your craft because it is deep enough for them. It is broad enough for them. You bring joy to their project when you do it. But if you're doing those 5 scenes a month and you don't have other things you're doing, even the art will suck. Yeah. So
still sort of talking about, the money in the business. There's something that started as whispers, in the industry. It started growing wings, and even actors have, been very vocal recently about it, especially on social media, about the fact that a lot of actresses, have to do things that are sort of, unbecoming, to make more money. People even draw comparisons or look at the male actors never do as well as the women. Why do you think that is? Because the women, I know it's a very broad brush, unfortunately, that's, been painted across board for female actors, But is there any truth to this? Because, I mean, the fact is we are on social media. We see, a new car is bought every day, a new house is launched, and people wonder, but Nollywood doesn't seem to pay this well, Is it a fair thing to say, about Nollywood actresses?
Okay.
You think?
First of all, I don't believe cars that I see on social media.
So that's your rule.
I just never believe that. I just never believe that. And but let me say that one of the gifts that the industry gives you is visibility.
Yes.
And visibility is a very nice thing. You can invest visibility in other things. You can, I mean, there are things that are not so well defined, like people who like to associate with celebrities. They love it. They're having a dedication of their homes. They want to have celebrities around them.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad. It's called appearances. You can do that for events. And there are people who have products to sell. They want to hang it around you. You could use your visibility that way. You can even develop products for yourself. Like I wrote a book.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why I was bold enough to write it was that I know that I have some visibility and people would like to read what I have to say, you know.
So basically leveraging on...
Leverage on the visibility, it would help to, you know, sell other things, you know. But then, that's not to say that there are not
some
things
elements that we can't prove.
But really, but we can't prove. But really, I was.
Or can you?
But I was in banking, right?
Okay.
I know what bankers did. It's not.
So
really
it's not a Nollywood issue.
It's not a Nollywood thing. It's not a Nollywood thing. It's a human thing. It's a human thing.
Let's talk about you now. I mean, your journey has been quite interesting. Are you happy with where you are right now in industry, considering when you started? Are you happy with your journey so far, where you are today as Femi Jacobs?
I feel blessed, Ebuka. I really feel blessed. I feel fortunate. I feel incredibly graced because of, I mean, really, it's just been 9 years in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And looking at where we are now, I feel incredibly blessed. I can't talk without mentioning people who gave me my opportunities. People like Mildred Okwa, who, you know, the only thing she saw of me was I was on Tinsel. I was a day player on Tinsel, wearing blue suit like this.
I'm still wearing blue suit.
No, but that's not what I think. You know, and I was in a court case. I was defending the character.
And she just spotted
and then she just felt, I want that guy. You know, she never met me before. She gave me the opportunity, and I was able to work with people like, you know, fantastic, Rita Dominic, Kate Henshaw, Basoj Tari, Chinedu Ikedieze, Jideko Soko, and a number of them. First project. And then I was fortunate then, when the meeting came out, the first 4 weeks, I think, we only had just a few number of screens, you know. Yeah. But right in the middle of, boom, Ikeja opens, you know. That was just grace. Ikeja opens and the footfall was massive. And people started coming from all over the place. The mainland took over, and the meeting just sort of like
took on a life.
Went everywhere. And only God could have done that, and it's just happenstance, and it was miraculous. So I feel blessed.
That's a good one.
I feel really blessed. Yeah. I know I've talked to a couple of my colleagues too, and they keep, you know, you're a lucky bastard.
Yeah. Very quickly now, finally, about the book now. Where can we get it? What's you know, a way to tease people enough so that they can get it?
Yes. On Thursday, Wednesday is my birthday. On Thursday, we have an event at Intercontinental where we're going to unveil the book, finally. People can go on my page and go call the number so they can get seats to come for the event, for the unveiling. Shortly afterwards, maybe immediately it will be available everywhere and people can buy it. But if you still want to order from me, you can go to my website, iamfemijacobs.com, and you can order it. We deliver nationwide. Okay. But the diaspora market, where we'll be able to get it on Amazon, on all of these other, you know, online stuff later.
All right, thank you very much. What's the Instagram page very quickly so people can go?
Femi Jacobs.
At Femi Jacobs, so you can go to your page and find out how to be a part of the event on Thursday.
Yes.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you so much.
All the best with your career. Always an amazing conversation with you.
Great.
You sabi book. Thanks a lot for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll take a quick break now. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.